see around it. You know? So that's the same thing with the so-called Romans. I mean, you know about the atrocities that y'all do. You know, again, 1800s, y'all was lynching, right, as a slave. 1619, y'all came up in 1492, y'all put the so-called Native Americans, you know, in bondage and in captivity. Even to this present day, again, y'all oppressed God's chosen people.
Right. I'm doing all I know is risk. Like what you saying, I ain't tripping. Like I'm a king, no, not a nigga. I keep my distance from the wicked. Like is they ready? The time is ticking. I let them come and witness. Want my people to shine with greatness. Remember the days of ancient. Our time is.
So according to the Bible, no pig, no ham, no bacon, no damn BLT sandwiches, no chitlins, hog maw, no pork sausages, no pepperoni, things like that. You like pork chops? Can't. That's good. That's good. That's good right there. So you want to stay away from the pork?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
Even certain ingredients like gummy bears.
Well, see now we're talking on different languages.
Yeah, that's gelatin. Yeah. You got well, it is. No, you got different gelatins. Though you got beef gelatin, you got pork gelatin. Boy, we know. Trust me, we did our homework.
No power. Please charge.
We do our homework out there.
I used to work in a factory where they make gummy bears and stuff, and the gelatin is pork. Yeah.
All right.
So with that,
Almost for the last 10, 20 years.
See that?
I ain't had it.
Well, that's good. So you want to go even to the
No power. Please charge.
you want to certain ingredients too. No, but that's plain though. No pork. That's one thing. We'll get three all together. You know?
He is unclean to you.
Right.
Of their flesh shall you not eat,
Right.
and their carcass shall you not touch.
Right.
They are unclean to you.
That's the first one. No pig. So we know.
These shall you eat, they are all in the waters.
In the waters.
Whatsoever has fins and scales in the waters, in the seas, and in the rivers, them
Shall ye eat?
So whatever come out the waters, if you want to eat it, it gotta have fins and scales.
Right.
So what's the seafood that you can eat that has fins and scales in the water? So this is what tuna. Alright, what else? You said what?
He's talking about that. I mean, he's talking about that. Well, yeah.
You said trout?
Yeah.
Yeah, trout is good.
That's
Trout is
one
good.
way to say it. He said same common.
Well, yeah, you know, the basic, so-called basic fish, the salmon, the trout, the red snapper, things like that. Gotta have fins and scales. You said whales. They don't got both fins and scales. Whales got fins. Scales. You eat whale? You eat dolphins?
You just said random and all that has not fins and scales
Don't got both fins and scales.
in the sea and in the rivers of them that move in the water. And if any living thing which is in the waters,
Right.
they shall be an abomination unto you.
So if it doesn't have fins and scales, God said it's an abomination.
Right.
So all these seafood boils, you like shrimp, crab, that octopus, that lobster, that oysters, that clam, you want to stay away from it.
Can't do the mothers.
Yeah, none of that. If it don't got both fins and scales, it will be a sin for you to eat and consume. Now, how do you feel about that? That's right. It's right. It's the word of God. So knowing now, they're going to keep eating those.
What I'm gonna do?
Or are you going to stop for the love of God that you have?
I'm gonna tell you right now. No more gummies and no more shellfish.
That's right. No more gummies,
right,
no more
brother.
shellfish. Give it up for the
That's
brother.
right, brother.
Right, because you
Praise
know
the
that
Most
you're
High.
an Israelite. You know you're an Israelite. You know that you said you're from the tribe of Judah.
Right.
So you being from the tribe of Judah, that's a very special tribe. Everybody not from the tribe of Judah. You got many tribes of Judah, top tribe. Simeon? Israel. Alright? So yes, you come from Judah, that's a top tribe. David, King David, he came from Judah. King Solomon came from Judah. And who the world calls Jesus Christ himself came from the tribe of Judah. So that shows how much, how heavy it is from the tribe of Judah. It's not just a light thing. So you get from the tribe of Judah, you really gotta uphold these commandments. Because that literally will make you a descendant of other kings. I'm gonna show you something about Judah real quick. Go to Genesis 49. Alright, verse number 8. The Lord said, the kingship, the scepter, it shall never depart from Judah. That scepter is like one of those sticks that the king sold when they sent down. You know, God gave that to the Judahites. That's
Right.
your brothers, man. Give me Deuteronomy 17 and verse 26. Read this.
It's the book of Genesis, chapter 49, verse 8. Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise.
God said, out of all the brethren that come from the 12 tribes, Judah will be praised. You know?
Thy hand shall be in the neck of thine enemies.
You know?
Thy father's children shall bow down before thee.
Right?
Judah is a lion's whelp from the prey. My son, thou art gone up. He stooped down, he croucheth as a lion, and as an old lion, who shall rouse him up?
As an old lion, we're gonna rouse up Judah. We're gonna tell Judah to keep these laws and commandments. Judah gotta show everybody else the laws and commandments. Because it starts with us, the so-called black. Everybody look at the so-called black style, fashion, even in the sports, sports world,
Just
entertainment world.
just how to think. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, so that comes from Judah. And again, we just read the scepter shall not depart from out. I believe it. I read on. I don't think we read it.
Verse 10.
I read it.
The scepter shall not depart from Judah.
Yeah, that's that kingship. That will never depart from Judah. Now keep that in mind. That kingship will never depart from Judah. Now read this. This is the law on the kingship. So we read this chapter. Deuteronomy 17.
It's the book of Deuteronomy 17 and verse number 18.
Bring it out.
When and it shall be when he sitteth upon the throne of his kingdom.
So when the king from the tribe of Judah, like you, sits upon the throne of his kingdom, you know,
that he shall write him a copy of this law.
meaning the king has to know the law so perfectly, he has to write a whole copy out of the law. So when we teach you these laws, understand that these is heavy laws right here. It may seem small, like not eating pork, not eating shrimp, crab, and lobster. These are really weighty, matters and laws that we're supposed to keep as a people. And because we didn't keep it, stuff like this happened. All right, we end up falling to our enemies.
Right.
The hands of the so-called white man, the Arab man, the Chinese man, and we end up becoming their servants and slaves. Well, when we keep these commandments, God raises us up above all the nations of the earth. So let's get another one. Leviticus 18. Need two more. All right, that was one. No shrimp, crab, and lobster, no pork. That's a dietary. What is 19:26?
Book of Leviticus 19 and verse number 26.
Bring it out.
Ye shall not eat anything with the blood, neither shall ye use enchantment, nor observe time.
So God said don't eat anything with the blood in it. Neither use enchantments, which is like witchcraft. He went to that witchcraft, the tarot card reading, palm reading. They want to read your palm to see if you get married or not. Yeah, that's all. That's good. God said don't get in there. You know?
Verse number 27. It's like, neither shall you use enchantment nor observe time.
And no observing times, meaning no astrology. You know about the zodiac signs and stuff, right? You know the zodiac signs?
Like, I want to say on a normal basis, like, not too much, like,
Oh yeah, you want to stay away from it.
yeah, I know, like, most of the signs, like that, so when months and what time frames.
Because what?
Because God said so, that's why.
Yeah, that's right.
God said so.
God said so. You know what I'm saying? Like, speak this. Oh yeah, what he said. God says so. You know, but zodiac signs goes back
Not
to...
observe, he said, do not observe the time.
I'm not saying that's what it's pure. But zodiac signs goes back to idolatry.
Right.
The worship of Babylonian gods, ancient Egyptian gods. Alright, what's these names? These zodiac sign
Scorpio,
yeah, the Scorpio,
Leo,
the Sagittarius,
Pisces.
the Leo, Pisces. All those go back to Babylonian gods. The Babylonians got that. Really, they go back to the Greeks. We got from the Babylonians, we got from the Egyptians. All that false worship of stars and use the stars to determine your emotions. Oh, I'm a Pisces, which means I can't date a Libra. Now your whole life being thrown off course. It's down to your soulmate right there. You cancel away your soulmate because you're a damn Libra. That's bad. God says don't do that.
Verse 27. Ye shall not round the corners of your heads, neither shall thou mar the corners of thy beard.
As a man, you want to have a beard on your face.
Right.
I see you got it. brothers up here trying to grow. We grow we can. But a beard is a sign of manly dignity when you read the Bible. Alright, women can't grow beards. Now the Lord gave that to the men to have, is to give a masculine vibration. You know, in slavery they cut your beard off and they called you a what? They called you a nigger and they called you a boy.
Yeah. Alright.
And they cut your beard off to demasculate you and they called you a boy. Certain these high-end jobs, you can't even work there if you got a beard on your face. They say that you look too threatening. Alright.
Yeah, it threw me off when I heard that.
Yeah, that's all. Here it is, a beard is natural that people feel. It's natural. The Lord gave men beards and some really so-called white men is normal. You know, so that just shows how they look at you. You know, they get intimidated just off the looks, the natural looks. Don't shave for 2 weeks, oh, this nigga's great.
Right.
I start clutching their purse, you know.
Right.
You know.
It's a very big reflection on what they sell. And it just outcasts all the stuff that they feel about themselves negatively. But it just echoes it louder in their own head. So they just like they gotta put it out on somebody else. Like,
That's right, bro. That's right.
it's ridiculous.
Now watch this.
Verse number 28.
You know.
Shall not make any cuttings in your flesh or the dead, nor print any marks upon you.
What does that sound like? To not put any marks upon you.
Yeah, like mark your body, like tattoos, piercings.
You can get piercings.
You get piercings. Well, alright, there's certain ones that mean something and then there's certain ones that don't mean anything.
You got like, you know, earrings and
Nose piercing.
I'm saying like, okay, in the motherland, you know, how to have like certain piercings that mean certain things.
oh yeah, now if you piercing up your body for, you know, to worship some God, then that's all. But certain piercings, like, you know, men have or women have a nose piercing.
Belly button too. Belly button piercing.
Belly button. But you get tongue piercings, you know, for some reason. But you know, it's not a sin to have piercings.
I'm just saying, I always liked them in together though. That's
No,
for
well,
me.
tattoos though. Tattoos, it would be a sin to get tattoos. Or branding. You know, them fraternities. Brand yourself, that would be a sin. You're marking up your body. Alright? So things like that, you want to stay away from. No, actually, I believe that's simple. So you see how simple these commandments are? Don't get into astrology. Eat your food cooked all the way. No eating shrimp, crab, lobster, or pork.
Right.
You know, no shellfish. All these are simple commandments. But what we do as a people, we said to hell with that. You know how many times we come out here, we tell our people the same thing that we just told you, and they get mad at us? You know, it's a commandment for women to actually to not wear pants but a dress modestly.
Right.
God. And guess what they say to us? Oh, y'all niggas know what y'all talking about. My Jesus wouldn't say that. Here it is. It's written over in the Bible. Old Testament and New Testament. Oh, no, well, y'all niggas don't know nothing. My Jesus wouldn't say that or do that. But like how you said, brother, if God said it, it is what it is. All right, there is no fighting against God. So the things that we read to you, these are, you know, foundation starter pack commandments. We got one more for you. Let's get the Sabbath. Let's go to Exodus 2. Let's do the Sabbath.
That is Sabbath.
You said what? Sabbath. The highest day.
It's the book of Exodus. It's the book of Exodus, chapter 20, verse 8.
Right?
Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy.
Right.
6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. But the 7th day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God.
So which day of the week is the 7th day? Saturday. That's right. Yeah, the first one. Got it in there. So it's Saturday. A lot of people think it's Sunday. That's what the church told our people. Yeah, they brainwash us and they lie to us. Even though it's clear upon the table on the calendar, they show you from damn kindergarten all the way up to however old you are. They show you that Saturday is the last day of the week. For some reason, people still say Sunday. It's the church system. But they kind of put that in our head. Oh, the Sunday, that's the worship day. No, Saturday the worship day. So that's right. Saturday is the Sabbath. You know?
In it thou shalt not do any work.
Right, no working on that day. No clocking in. No whatever work you do. Cut here, no cut here. If you work at a factory, no going in. It's that day for the rest. You know?
thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates.
Even the animals and everybody in your house can't work. So if you live back in the intro and you have some cattle, ain't no, all right, cattle, y'all can go into the field, get your oxen, they start tilling the ground. Hey, even they gotta work. Ain't no take your dog outside to learn new tricks. He gotta work. He gotta rest. You gotta sit down and chill for that day. It's the Sabbath, it's the Lord's holy day. Put on in that.
For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea and all that in them is,
Even God has 6 days to get done what he had to get done. What are you doing the last day?
and rested the seventh day.
Rest. God did it, and honestly, we gotta do it. And that's just not in one book. The Sabbath day is written in many places in the Bible to remind you how important it is. Now you had one captivity that we were saying. You know about the Greeks, right? Now what was the so-called black men during the time of the Grecian Empire? No, it was actually in slavery under the Greeks. Believe it or not, but the black man was in slavery under the Greeks.
Yeah.
Well, not necessarily,
So he had.
Of course he did.
Well, but like African slaves.
Yeah, the Macedonian, before it was, Greece, it was the ruler of Macedon. They always had us as their servants. But when they became an empire, you have a man named Antiochus Epiphanes. He chiefly kind of got in there and colonized us and conformed us to the ways of the Greeks. When he did that, we forgot what the Sabbath day was. Because we was in slavery, they kind of beat it out of us. But we read this account right here, it reminds us how sacred the Sabbath day really is.
There's a book of 2 Maccabees 6, verse number 11, and others that had run together into caves nearby to keep the Sabbath secret.
So you had some of us, we ran to caves since we was getting oppressed. We said to keep the Sabbath day secretly. Because if they would have seen us keeping the Sabbath day, they would have killed us. All these Jews, what they doing, they keeping God's laws, they trying to raise back up. Let's cut them off right there. As we seen that, we said, you know what, we gotta get the hell up out of here. If I want to keep the Sabbath day, I gotta go in secret to keep it. And they ran in caves to keep it. You know what?
Being discovered to Philip, we're all burnt together.
We got burnt for actually keeping God's commandments. This has to show you how important God's commandments is to our people, to the real Jews. You know what?
Because they made the conscience to help themselves for the honor of the most sacred day.
What's the Sabbath?
For the honor of the most sacred day.
Read that again.
For the honor of the most sacred day.
It's the most sacred day. Out of all the days throughout the week, from Sunday to the last day, Saturday. Saturday is the most sacred day. Just read, even God kept that day holy. So that shows you the severity and the weight of the Sabbath. Now the Sabbath actually starts from Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. It's a 24-hour period. Alright? The day actually starts at sundown, believe it or not. Don't start at 12 p.m. or 12 a.m. rather. Alright? By default, when something ends, something else has to begin. When that sun goes down, the day is over. According to the Bible.
Right.
Now, let's show that. Let's go to Genesis 1 and 5. Alright, just to show you that real quick.
Book of Genesis chapter 1 and verse number 5. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night, and the evening and the morning.
He said the evening and then the morning
were the first day.
So when that evening, when the sun sets to the morning, leading on to it, that's the first day. That's one day right there. So that shows that the day starts when the sun goes down. So the Sabbath day will actually be Friday sundown, Saturday sundown. Right. And that would be a 24-hour period for you to keep the Sabbath holy. Again, no working, no selling, no buying, no sex on the Sabbath. It's all rest, you know. You got 6 days to get done what you gotta get done. You work, pay your bills, you grind throughout the week. You know, if it was up to the so-called white man, he'll work 7 days out the week. I'm pretty sure you know. Right? What's the name? What's your name? I'm pretty sure you know. It feels up to Donald Trump and, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, they'll work the Negro man 7 days out the week. Yeah, for sure. So even Esau said. But for that reason, God said, you know what? On that 7th day, for my people, you gotta rest. That's plain, right? It's not hard. It's not hard, is it?
No, but that's the thing with society. they try to switch up perceptions and narratives, throw you off, and make you forget certain things.
It does, and that's what they did.
Especially the Europeans, but yeah.
And that's exactly what they did through this right here. They cut us off from being a nation. Now, I know we said that was the last commandment, but we got 2 more closing ones for you to come off, all right? Let's go to Deuteronomy 28 and 68. What is that right before this? All right, I want to show you a little bit of history. I'm pretty sure you know about the transatlantic slave trade, right? That's when we went from West Coast of Africa, from slaves and slave ships to Americans. Now, what transportation would we have to take for us to go from Africa to America? Not a canoe, a cargo slave ship. All right. All right. Yeah, you see it. Cargo slave ships. So we didn't take bamboos canoes to get from West Africa to the Americas. That's a long journey right there. They needed, a good foundational ship to travel right there, which again would be that cargo slave ship. And that was actually mentioned of in the Bible.
Right.
And the people that did it, like you said, the Europeans, the so-called white man, they're again mentioned in the Bible of that event. Now we're gonna see what God called them.
It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 68.
Read out.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
Egypt is a term for America, or spiritual Egypt. Now, why is America spiritual Egypt? Why is America spiritual Egypt? What did we do in Egypt and what did we do in America?
Damn.
Well,
That's a good question.
announce when God told us to do it a couple times.
Yeah, we did that, and we also was enslaved.
Right. That's funny, yeah.
You know about Moses that my people go, right? Yeah, but it was in Egypt when he said that it was slaves. America was what? Slaves. Showing you that America is that spiritual Egypt. Now let's see how we're gonna get to homeland, to America. Read that again.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again
To America again with what?
with ships.
What?
With ships.
How we get to America?
With ships.
We came over on cargo slave ships.
Right.
So you would go from one end up to the other one ships. You know?
By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again.
Right?
And there he shall be sold unto your enemies.
So when you get to America, you will be sold unto your enemies.
Right.
So what ways do people down calling your enemy?
Esau. Right.
Esau?
White people.
White, hold on, brother. So you know the white man is Esau?
Yeah, I know Jacob and Esau.
Oh, so you know about Jacob and Esau?
A little bit, man.
All right.
I never got too many years that. I wanted to be like that where I just call them out. I like it. I ain't get that yet.
Well, I guess when you see coming out, you sincere, you learn, you gonna get there like this. You gotta come around your brothers. Now, what's your nationality from my brother? Is he Esau?
Yeah, what are you?
725 nationality.
Yeah.
Polish.
Polish. So you be a so-called what?
Caucasian.
Okay. So you know that he's Esau. All right, well, we're gonna see what God. Now we just read that Esau was saying what he
That's what he's talking about. That's the enemy. Yeah,
The enemy.
you gonna get sold to the enemy.
The enemy. So you know that Esau is the enemy. All right, now let's see what God said about the enemy.
It's the book of Sirach, chapter 12 and verse number 10.
Right.
No, never trust thy enemy.
The Lord say,
Never trust thy enemy.
that again.
Never trust thy enemy. For like iron rusted, so is wicked.
God said, never trust your enemy. You just read who the enemy was, and then you know Esau is so-called white man. So, never trust the enemy. What does that mean to you?
I mean, what it reads as is the black person you're not supposed to be white people.
All right, let's play the whole tell
White people.
That's plain. Now, right. Now, God didn't say that for no reason. Because clearly when, black and whites come together, this happens.
Yeah,
All right? You seen what they did to Native Americans. Y'all know what y'all did to Native Americans. Oh, bro. Y'all did to Native Americans, right?
What we did to Native Americans.
Yeah, what y'all did to the Native Americans.
Yeah, the Trail of Tears, we got beat them, ran them away from like the whole eastern force, whole country. Y'all beat the shit out of them.
You have no idea. Hold on. You said you have no idea what y'all did to the Native Americans.
I really don't know.
So you don't know about, like you said, the Trail of Tears. How y'all just destroyed and colonized all the propaganda route.
I'm not good with that stuff. I never
All right, well,
read a lot of history.
All right, well, what about the war with the Mexicans? What's the 1817 war with Mexico? 1819. 1819? Even with the so-called Mexicans, right? Didn't Texas be a part of Mexico?
You pick that up on me?
California. So how did that become Mexican territory to American territory?
Right.
Stolen land. Now that's Esau proof. So Esau knows. So you knowing about the Israel of Esau, you know, are you gonna continue walking hand in hand? Esau, even though God just said what he said to never trust the enemy.
Right.
What is Sirach 6:13?
It's the book of Sirach, chapter 6 and verse number 13.
Listen with open ears. Read this.
Separate thyself from thy
What
enemy.
did God say?
Separate thyself from thy
Read
enemies.
that again.
Separate thyself from thy enemies.
Read.
And take heed of thy friends.
So what does that mean? To separate yourself from your enemies. Because you already said who your enemy was. We didn't say it.
Right.
God said it and then you said it.
Right.
And then we just backed it up with research.
Right.
So what does that mean to separate yourself from your enemies?
That excerpt, yeah, it was just saying, you know, get away from, stay away from Mike. Stay around your brothers.
And that's right, it's plain. Give it up for the brothers. Alright, that's one step. So you know. Now the question is, are you going to apply that
Man,
principle?
look, I don't know, I have some really, really, really nice people in my life that are Caucasian, right?
Hold on, bro.
I mean, I ain't gonna hold you.
Hold on. Read that again.
This is the book of Sirach, chapter 6 and verse number 13. You know?
Mind you, these are the words of God.
You're right.
These are the words. Now listen to the word of God. And let's see what God said. Read that again.
Separate thyself from thine
What
enemies.
did God say?
Separate thyself from thine
No
enemies.
man said it.
Separate thyself from thine enemies.
It's in the Bible. So
Separate.
again, are you going to apply the commandments of God?
I'm not gonna lie to you. I'll tell you that right now.
Well, you're not lying to me. I'm asking on behalf of God.
Right.
You can't lie to man. You only lying to God. So
Right.
are you gonna tell God, no, I'm gonna keep hanging around with my enemy, my enemy?
Oh no.
The cheat. The cheat.
The same man that put you in slavery, the same man that put Flint, Michigan, they put land all in the water.
Yeah, you know what's
Say,
crazy?
hold on, the same race that oppresses and kills your people.
Hold on, what's crazy is that, like,
Hold on, well, I'm not now, bro. You talk, you're vouching for a race that has done so much wrong to our people.
Still.
And you just cast all that away to hang with a couple white people. That's what you're telling me.
so look what I'm saying. It's not even like that. Because y'all don't rightfully say y'all don't like it, right? But that mindset of everything that shit over God is what my mindset is. Well, I can remember literally. Yeah, I ain't gonna even hold you the last two years, my last 2 years. I've been way like fucked up worse situation. It was from one friend and his family, literally. Those three people.
Hold on, but what does that have to do with God saying
And
separate
they
the
white. They white.
So you saying the white man that's done good to you? I'm asking, so you saying the white man has done so good, so much good.
So good to me. I mean, I'm just saying.
That you all wanted to overthrow God.
For me to sit there and be like, oh yeah, I just can't fuck with y'all at all because my God said so. I mean, could I say that and do that? Yeah. Will I do that and say that? I have to sit on that. That's all I'm saying.
Well, give me Psalms 119. All right, give me Psalms 119. I'll let you know now, bro. It happens all the time. You know, stories on the news play back and back. It's a repeated cycle. You become friended with the so-called white man, eventually he will overthrow you. I mean, it happens all the time. Now, what I had you hold, go to Sirach 12, and verse 16.
It's the book of Psalms, chapter 119, verse 6.
Bring it out.
Then shall I not, right? Then shall I not be ashamed when I have respect unto all thy commandments.
That's on 119.
119, 6. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 119. Psalms 119, verse 60.
Bring it out.
I made haste.
I made what?
I made haste.
What did God say?
I made haste.
Make haste means to hurry up. I made haste.
And delayed not to keep thy commandments.
So when David heard that he can't be 1-1 with his enemy, it said he made haste and delayed not to keep God's commandments. So you have to make haste and hurry up to keep the commandment of not being friends and buddy with your enemy. Because eventually gonna overthrow you. We're gonna tell you, God said that you're a natural born enemy. You said earlier, you know about Jacob and Esau. So you know from the womb that it was already a conflict. Jacob was already giving Esau the hands and the feet in the womb. Here it is, you out the womb again. You think everything will be what, buddy and buddy? It's the same thing, brother. Watch this. Alright, 12 and 16.
This is the book of Sirach, chapter 12, and verse number 16.
Right.
An enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips.
And that's what an enemy will do. That's what so-called white men. Right. You know about getting Charlatans. How were they so close to get to the Native Americans? They did it through words, smooth talk. Like how the white men always do.
Treaties.
Yeah, treaties and gifts.
Right.
Like how you said your white friend treated you. Good words. Right? Probably spoke kindly. Read that again.
An enemy.
An enemy.
Speak.
Deuteronomy 28 and 16. Esau's your enemy. What does he do?
An enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips.
Yeah, he'll put his arms around you and call you buddy. Speak sweetly with his lips. You know?
But in his heart
In his mind,
he imagineth how to overthrow thee.
in his mind, he's thinking about overthrowing you. He may not do it tomorrow. He may not do it a year from now. But down the line, best believe that it's made for him to go off and overthrow you. In some way, shape, or form. Even when you got these in colleges, these high school players, they got all these scholarships. That's what the white head coach. He had all those scholarships. He scored up in his foul somewhere. He got Jake about to go D1, top prospect. Never gets a chance of opportunity in life. You know how many stories they got about that? I mean, we can go from so-called white women, then rape case. Black man can go the way. The so-called black and white man, the black man go on a trip with all his white friends. All of them come back and the black man they're missing. So it's a revolving door. It happens all the time. You don't want to get caught in that same process.
Right.
Right, read.
But in his heart he imagined how to overthrow thee into a pit.
Said in his mind, he's imagining how to throw it into a pit. He ain't speaking nice words, he saying kind words and definitely
What's our nationality?
brother, he take you fishing. So that one time, you seen Get Out, right? I really just watched it last night.
Damn.
I rewatched it again last night.
Damn.
What happened in that movie, Get Out? Saturday, but before that, there was on Buddy and Buddy, right?
Ya también tiene otro
House, days, and next thing you know, they're trying to take that brain down and get for the white man side. I love it. But the point is that stuff like that happens in real life.
Right.
God has seen this play out millions of times, so even He knows you don't want to be around these people. They're dangerous. They're not safe.
You can give them a flyer on my bag. The black bag.
Common sense.
The black.
It's like a brother, he keeps back, he keeps saying sorry. Alright, eventually you're gonna have enough sense to say, you know what, I can't be around it. You know? So that's the same thing with the so-called white. I mean, you know about the atrocities that y'all do. You know, again, 1800s, y'all was lynching, right? It's a slavery. 1619, y'all came up. 1492, y'all put the so-called Native Americans, you know, in bondage and in captivity. Even to this present day, again, y'all oppress God's chosen people.
Right.
Chemicals, and they put crack in the hoods. You know all this, brother. And you the one that said Jacob and Esau was
Right.
natural born enemies.
Right.
How does it look like you take a natural born enemy and you walk in here?
Damn.
Hey, Jamil. Come on, man. Have a brother talk. Yeah, bro. You want to make sure you stay away from me, so I know we can't say it no plainer than that. But read on in this section a lot more.
Khan. He will weep with his eyes, but if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood.
So he said, if you find opportunity to overthrow you, you will not be satisfied with blood whatsoever. And that's the nature of the so-called white race. So I'm gonna ask you again, according to the Bible, are you willing to separate from your enemy? According to the words of God. You are. Sure. Alright, brother. Alright, get up for the brother. Get up for you right now. Alright? Get up for you right now. But remember, God is always watching. We just mortal man. You know? But at the end of the day, God is watching. So He's gonna see you and hold fast your words. Alright, watch this. 1 Samuel 26. Alright, let's go to 1 Samuel 26. Or 3, please. It's the 1 Samuel 3.
It's the book of 1 Samuel chapter 3, verse 1. This is the book of 1 Samuel chapter 2, verse 3.
Bring it out.
Talk no more exceeding proudly.
God said, don't do too much talking, right?
let not the arrogancy come out of your mouth.
Right.
For the Lord is a God of knowledge.
Right.
And by him,
By God,
actions are weighed.
our way,
Actions are weighed.
talk is way.
Actions are weighed.
You gotta let your actions speak for themselves. God is a God of knowledge. About him, actions. What you're really going to do is weigh. It's going to be weighed in the balance. We read earlier, separate yourself from your enemy, but what? Take heed to thy friends. Your friends up here, brother. Keep the white man go break down these precepts and these scriptures. The white man gonna tell you to keep God's commandments and prosper and live. The so-called white man gonna tell you, hey, look, man, hey, you gotta get up, you gotta fix the so-called problem in the black communities. Or you gotta get up and raise your people. You think the white man's gonna tell you that? How many times has he told you that? How many times have, I'm asking you. How many times have you told him to get up and fight for your people and be a revolutionary, teach the word of God, and wake them up?
Mind you, like one day.
Well, how many times have any of your white friends told you that? Wake up the lost child of Israel. So when your white friends told you to wake up the lost 12 tribes of Israel?
That right there, I mean, you know, like, yeah, like set on that course to where you're sitting there in the night and uplifting your people. That's
Let me tell you that your people were the lost tribe of Israel.
he didn't have to tell you. So, but the thing is he himself doesn't. He's not. That's the thing.
Well, that's even worse. That's even worse.
I mean, we've had a conversation about that or debates about that.
All right, bro.
But
You know you Israel, you hanging out with me, so don't believe God.
Of course he does.
Come on, brother. You gotta get out of here, all right? Because again, it's only going to end to destruction.
Right.
I'm just telling you, we your brothers. It's counts and counts of the Bible that speaks about a man that walks in the end of his enemy and gets him wrong. I mean, that's Iraq 8, it says he's walking out with a bold fella. You know, get that in. That's Iraq 8 and 1. Who's more bold, more proud than the so-called white man? Go to Iraq 8 and 1.
Book of Sirach, chapter 8, and verse number 1.
Right.
And it reads, strive not with a mighty man,
Right. Don't go back and forth with a man that's ready to kill.
lest thou fall into his hands.
Right?
Be not a variance with a rich man,
Right?
lest he overweigh thee, for the gold hath destroyed many, and perverted the hearts of kings. Strive not with a man full of a tongue, and heap not wood upon his fire. Jest not with a rude man, lest thy ancestors be disgraced. Reproach not a man that turneth from sin, but remember that we are all worthy of punishment. Dishonor not a man in his old age, for even some of us wax old. Rejoice not over the greatest.
Go to verse 15.
Verse 15.
All right, listen to this, brother. Verse 15.
Travel not by the way with a bold fellow.
What did God say?
Travel not by the way with a bold fellow.
Read that again.
Travel not by the way with a bold fellow.
God said don't travel in the way with a bold fellow.
Right.
Okay? You walk hand in hand with the so-called white man, and then there's nobody more bolder or more prideful than him on the face of the earth.
He's outstanding, man.
Yeah, I mean, literally. Like you said, look at him. He got a suit on, walking with his woman on stolen ground.
Right.
Walking on the bones of his ancestors who he killed.
Right.
The Native Americans' blood is under here. Our ancestors' blood is under here.
Right.
All right, the so-called right, the so-called Seminole Indians. All the tribes of Israel has the so-called white man massacre.
Right.
He took this land by blood. So if he took this land by blood, then how do you think this land has to be cleansed?
I got the answer.
Number 35. If he took this land by blood, then what's the only way for this land to be cleansed? By blood. By blood. You said it, brother.
Right.
And most importantly, God said it.
Right.
Read it.
There's the book of Numbers, chapter 35 and verse number 33.
Read on.
And it reads, so ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood it defileth the land.
Defiles the land.
For blood it defileth the land.
Slaying multitudes of Native Americans.
For blood it defileth the land.
Killing all the so-called Mexicans.
For blood it defileth the land.
Read that again.
For blood it defileth the land.
So blood defiles land.
Right.
Nah, it didn't say littering defiles land. It didn't say then peeing in the alley defiles land. It said blood, innocent blood defiles land. You know?
And the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein.
And more blood can't cleanse the land, or what?
But by the blood of him that shed it.
But of the blood that him that shed that blood, that's the only way the land will be cleansed. Meaning he out his blood and his people's blood has to be spilled for the atrocities that they have done to God's chosen people. How does it look like when you walking hand in hand with your enemy when his judgment is that he has to spill blood for the atrocities that he's done? It don't look good, brother. First of all, it don't look good in the eyes of mortal man, you know, and most importantly, it don't look good in the eyes of God. Because God told you to separate, and you don't want to separate, you get that judgment that's coming with you. You know? So again, we're gonna ask you one more time. Are you wanting to separate your so-called white man, all your white friends? Yeah, all right, give it up for the brother. All right? Give it up for the brother. All praise to the Most High. We want to make haste and keep these commandments.
Right.
This is life or death. We're not telling you this because we just mean and we force you to do something that you probably don't want to do. I'm telling you this because God said it.
Right.
God said separate from the enemies.
Right.
Even, you know, again, King David. We told you about King David earlier, right? What tribe was he from? And was he a king or was he a peasant?
Well, that's a trick question.
So was King David a king or was he a peasant? He was a king. Ain't no trick. He was a king, brother. Now let's see what the king in the tribe of Judah. Let's see his mindset. What Psalms 139.
Oh, well, he was the most dedicated.
Yeah, why? Because he had to write the law.
Yeah, he was the most dedicated.
He was a king from the tribe of Judah. Like you.
He had to be.
So you gotta be like King David there, brother. If David was the most dedicated, you gotta be the most dedicated.
Right.
Right.
Chapter 5, verse 8. Read. 139 and 22.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 139 and verse
Go to 21.
21, and it reads, "Do not I hate them, O Lord, that I hate thee."
This is David speaking. He said, do not I hate them, O Lord, that hate thee. Guess who hates God? The so-called Jewish man, the so-called white man. But the white people, they hate God through their actions. You see it because if they love God, they wouldn't praise God.
A lot of stuff
Right.
would happen, yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that wouldn't happen. If they love God, then they wouldn't be raped, robbed, and murdered all over.
Right.
So we see that the white man hates God. Let's see what David said. Read that again.
Do not I hate them, O Lord, that hate thee,
He said, I hate the same people that hate you. Read.
and am not I grieved with those that rise up against thee.
He said, I'm grieved with those people that rise up against you. Read.
I hate them with perfect
What did
hatred.
God say?
I hate them with perfect
That was
hatred.
David's mindset.
I hate them with perfect hatred.
Read.
I count them mine
He
enemies.
said, I hate them with a perfect hatred. I count them my enemies. Just read who the enemies was again.
Right.
Same enemies that put you in slavery.
See that?
That was King David's mindset, who was from the tribe of Judah. You said you from the tribe of Judah. And you said earlier that you profess yourself as a king. So you gotta have that same mindset as a true king. You said you show you something else David said about hatred. 2 Samuel 5 and 8.
It's the book of 2 Samuel chapter 5 verse 8.
Bring it out.
And David said on that day, whosoever getteth up to the gutter and smiteth the Jebusites.
Jebusites is one of our other chief enemies who read the Bible. If it wasn't kill the Jebusites, read.
And the lame and the blind that are hated of David's soul.
That are what?
That are hated of David's soul.
They don't love everybody.
That are hated of David's soul.
David said his soul even hated these people. There's that damn tension, you know that feeling. That rage, that tingly feeling inside of you, you just can't stand something. You gotta let it out.
Microwave.
Yeah.
Damn, microwave.
He said
Right.
David said, I hate them with my soul.
Right.
You know, you gotta hate somebody a lot to say I hate them with my soul.
Damn.
So he said the Jebusites that are hated of David's soul. You know what I mean?
He shall be chief and captain. Wherefore,
So he said, man, whoever slay these Jebusites, I'm gonna make you my chief and my captain because I hate you with my damn soul.
right,
That's the mindset of King David. He's a righteous man. God told him, hey, don't say that. Oh, thou David. Thou hast transgressed the words of God.
Hold that peace.
That's what David said, man.
Right.
God was right. God told David to do that.
Right.
Somebody to go take the land back. You know, so that shows the mindset that the righteous have against the wicked. You gotta have that same mindset. All right, go to Sirach 31 and 15 and Sirach 13 and 15. All right. I know you got a lot of people. A few more just to make sure that we on the same page.
Sirach chapter 31 verse 15.
Bring it out.
Judge of thy neighbor by thyself and be discreet in every point.
Right?
That's how I cut one.
Eat as it becometh a man those things.
Read this what you got.
This is the book of Sirach 13 and verse number 15.
Bring it out.
Every beast loveth his like, and every man loveth his neighbor.
Right.
All flesh consorteth according to kind, and a man will cleave to his like.
So read that again, verse 15. Slide.
Verse 15. Every beast loveth his like, and every man loveth his neighbor.
Right, so the Lord said every beast cleaveth to his like. Every man loveth and cleaveth to his neighbor. So a beast, you ever seen a dog walk hand in hand with a lion? No. But they are animals at the end of the day. Even animals, they know their own families and their own crowd. So if animals know that, how much more man? They like to say the human race, right? Humankind, mankind. Yeah, everyone's a part of the so-called human race. But that doesn't neglect that everyone still has their families that they go back to. The Israelites, that's a family that belongs to God. The Arabs, that's a family. They have their own. They refer to each other as brother and sister. The white man and his, they refer to each other as brother and sister. Same thing with the Chinese man, so forth and so on. We know in that?
Verse number 16.
Right.
All flesh consorteth according to kind.
So all flesh is going to consort to their own kind. Not to all kind and mankind, it says to his own kind. Meaning, if you're an Israelite, then who should you be dwelling amongst? If you're an Israelite, like you, brother, if you're from the tribe of Judah, brother, I mean, that's you. If you're an Israelite, other Israelites. Who Israelites should be hanging around other Israelites?
Right.
You have an Israelite hanging around with a Moabite, a Chinese man. If I see an Israelite with fringes and a hair wrap,
man.
if I see him hanging around Arabs, I'm gonna have questions.
Wicked.
You know, I'm gonna look at him, I'm gonna mark him.
To shake him up.
You know? Same thing with, any race. If I see an Israelite like you walking around with a so-called white man, that look bad. It's common to see, nations walk with their own people. You ever seen an Arab man at a all blackout party with all black people? Not really. You see, he got his ancient turban, his ancient garments, his sandals and his slippers.
Right.
And he's speaking Arabic, and all them black people just bring him in, they love him. You don't really see that. Because that's not his crowd, that's not his own kind, like the Bible says. Read that one more time.
All flesh consorted according to kind,
right?
And a man will cleave to his like.
And your like should be those that keep God's commandments.
Right.
You gotta cleave with those that keep the Lord's commandments, like us. Yeah, we your brothers. All right, read.
No, more than that. What fellowship had the wolf with a lamb?
Yeah, what fellowship is a wolf and a lamb can have together? They gonna have a fellowship. It's straight. Yes, straight slaughter. What fellowship have the wolf with the lamb? Hey, the Bible calls us the lamb, the sheep, the lost sheep, and they call Aaron like a wolf. So what fellowship has the white man with the so-called black man, the Israelites?
Right.
Don't they devour us every day? Don't they make us work crazy hours and give us pennies or reward? Here is you live on check and check, and they living in a building like this. Here, America has the money to cure world hunger and poverty. Detroit look like a third world country. But then you got Donald Trump, who's a billionaire, he's president right now. He will give his money to Detroit and have it fixed up. Or to the hoods of Chicago and take away all the guns and put righteousness within it. No, they're not going to do that. They put the guns in the hood and say, killing each other. So they can keep killing each other. That's what they do. So read that again. Read on, actually.
Verse 17. What fellowship had the wolf with a lamb?
Right.
So the sinner with the godly.
So the sinner with the godly. The sinner and the godly person, they can't walk hand in hand. The sinner would be the so-called white man seeing all the sins that he's committed upon the earth. The godly would be the Israelites, saying we keep God's commandments and uphold righteousness.
Right.
Now read what you got.
It's the book of Sirach, chapter 33, verse 14.
Bring it out.
God is set against evil and life against death.
You say good, read that again.
Right. Good is set against evil.
So you have good against evil, read.
And life against death.
Right.
So is the godly against the sinner.
So is the godly man against the sinner.
And the sinner against the godly.
Damn. It's against each other. It can't work hand in hand. You got Esau, you got Jacob. All right, you got the righteous, you got the wicked. You can't go hand in hand. It's like water and oil, it can't mix. You know? So, now all principles, most like you said that you're going to work on keeping that commandment. All these commandments are easy. All you lose a friend in the world, you gain many brothers in the spirit. And we your brothers up and gonna tell you the truth.
Right.
Alright, you think, again, going back to King David, King Solomon, you think these men were walking around with, Edomites? No, they weren't walking around with Edomites. You know what David actually did to Edomite in the Bible? I'm gonna show you what David did to Edomite. I think that's 2 Samuel chapter 2. Yeah, chapter 2, what he did to his name, eat something, yeah, that's Thursday.
It's
Alright, this is the last one. 2 Samuel chapter 2.
It's the book of 2 Samuel chapter 1 verse 13.
Yo.
And David said unto the young man that told him, Whence art thou? And he answered,
So this young man is an Edomite he's speaking to. He said, who are you? Where you from? You know?
And he answered, I am the son of a stranger, an Amalekite.
Right, Amalek goes back to Esau.
And David said unto him, How is thou not afraid to stretch forth thy hand to destroy the Lord's anointed?
Right, because this Edomite was bragging about how he killed Saul. Sounds good. You know, he's kind of getting off on you. Right, read?
And David called one of the young men and said, Go near and fall upon him.
Wait, what did David say?
Go near and fall upon him.
So David told one of his servants, after he heard this white man kill his lord and his king, David called one of his young men, he kind of probably whistled, probably gave that head nod or something.
Right.
You gotta say too much. He gave that look. One of his young men, they came and they fell upon the Edom. What does it mean when he fell upon him?
He came with that deed.
Yeah, he killed him, he slew him. You know? He chopped his bite, he got busy. Right, read?
And he smote him that he died.
And he smote him that he died. David gave a green light for him to do that.
Right.
So that's really, David act like he told one of his young men, one of his shorties, hey, come and take him out. Since he want to brag and speak about killing the anointed of God, we're gonna get him out of here. Alright, so that's what David did to the so-called white man. Again, David from the tribe of Judah, you from the tribe of Judah.
Right.
You refer to yourself as a king. David, he the greatest king besides the Lord that we've had. You know? So you want to take the attributes of David and apply it to yourself, not just the hatred of the enemies. You know, I'm not saying that you have to hate the white man, which, through the spirit is sure for what they did. But you can't be around them. You can't be hand to hand and buddy. That's the commandment of God. You have to, stay away from shrimp, crab, and lobster. Alright, no pork. You can't mark your body up with tattoos. These are simple commandments that we break every day as a people. But now it's time for us to come back to these commandments and uphold them to the best of our ability.
Right.
In order for us to be raised back up as a people. That makes sense, brother? Alright, close the place. Close y'all with this one. They gotta hear that. It's the last one. Ecclesiastes 12, verse number 13.
This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12, verse 13.
Right.
Yo.
Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter.
Right.
Fear God.
What?
Fear God.
What you gotta do?
Fear God.
Fear God.
And keep his commandments.
That's plain. Keep the commandments.
For this is the whole duty of man.
That's the whole purpose while you live.
Right.
Fear God. Keep his commandments. All right, brother. All right, brother. I'm gonna go ahead and let you go, man.
All right, man.
I know you gotta go to the bathroom, etc. We got a flyer for you too. You know, brother right there gonna give you a flyer.